All right, Shalom Aleichem, Beruchim Habayim to our Yalkut Yosef class. Of course, we are in the topic of Tefilah, Amidah, Shemoneh Esrei. And right before we jump in, we'll mention that since it's Rosh HaShana coming next week, B'ezrat Hashem, we want to devote a few minutes at the end of the class to Rosh HaShana as well. Davar be'ito matov, Chachamim say. Everything has its time. The time for Rosh Hashanah, we should speak about it a little bit, B'ezrat Hashem, but let's continue from where we stopped regarding Hilchot Tefilah, Hilchot Amidah. The last thing we mentioned was the things you cannot do before you go to Bet Knesset to pray. We're talking about Yalkut Tefilah, which is mainly Amidah, but it regards all the Tefilah. One of the things we said you can't do is you can't go to someone's home and say shalom to him and good morning before the Tefilah. The first thing you should have in mind is to going to Bet Knesset, right? Another thing you're not allowed to do, and this happens occasionally, you have a trip, you want to go somewhere, saying, listen, it's going to be a little bit difficult for me, there's stress in the morning, let me go to the trip, we're going up north, we have a 2-hour drive. I get there, it's more comfortable, I'll pray over there. Am I allowed to do that? The answer is no. The tefillah comes first. When would it be allowed? If I live in Ra'anana, which happens to be the case, and I one day say, you know what, I'm in the mood to, oh, the sneeze is about to come out, but it's holding back. What guest we have here? Matin, Baruch Haba, Shalom Aleichem. Giacomo, you jumped in as well. How's it going? So now I live in Ra'anana, and I want to go to the Kotel to pray Shacharit. Now, we just said that you're not allowed to travel before you go to Bet Knesset. The first thing you should do is to go to Shul. But the answer is, if I'm doing it for the Tefilah, I'm going to the Kotel because I'm doing it for the purpose of Tefilah, even though I have a Bet Knesset next to me right now. I want to go there. Over there, my Tefilah is better. I have a stronger connection. Therefore, it would be permitted to go to that place to pray. And it doesn't have to be the Kotel. It could be any type of mitzvah or thing that is related to help you pray. It would also be allowed. We gave once the example of kibud orim. If someone's mother told him, go buy me a cup of milk before shacharit, even though that's the first thing we need to do, tefillah is from the Rabbanan, and kibud orim is a mitzvah from the Torah, from the Oraita. So of course we will do the mitzvah of kibud orim. However, if there's no special reason and we just want to, go on a trip, I want to go on a ski trip, and it's more comfortable for me to pray when I get there at 9 o'clock and not wake up an hour earlier and pray at home at 7, that would be forbidden because that's not for tefillah. Have that in mind. Another thing you cannot do before tefillah. Okay, so taking a shower, is that allowed? Sometimes you feel the need to take a shower. So the answer is, if it's a pleasure shower, it would be forbidden. Why are you taking a shower right now before tefillah? But if the purpose of the shower is to help you wake up, once you wake up better, now I'm going to have better kavanah and tefillah, or somehow, for some reason, the coffee spilled on you, you got dirty, and you want to clean yourself up, that will, of course, be allowed. The only thing that you shouldn't do is a pleasure shower where you spend half an hour over there and you start shampooing and conditioner and moisturizer. Tefillah comes first. So that's the rule over there. What about organizing my bed? I want to organize my bed. It's not nice. I wake up, I don't want to leave the room messy. What do you guys think? What's your feeling? Can I fix my bed before I go to shul or no?
I would say yes.
Very good. Anybody else?
I would say no.
Oh, very good. I want to hear reasoning, guys. We're in a place where we can't just throw answers. What would Simon? What would be the reasoning?
You start your day off on a better day. Your head is organized. When you organize your bed, your thoughts are clearer. It's always a good thing to do.
Igal, what do you say? He says your thoughts aren't clear if your bed is not organized. Do you agree?
I don't see any connection between organizing a bed and saying the tefillah.
Well, Igal, I a lot of the times take your side here. I'm not going to say that the reasoning that Chachamim bring is Simon's reason, that the reason of organizing your mind, but Chachamim put it in a different phrase. But you will be allowed to organize your bed. Why? Because they say it's called derech eretz. Derech eretz means you have people in the house, whatever it is, they walk into a room, they see a messy room. This guy went to pray and look how he left his room. Or this is common amongst yeshiva boys. You learn in yeshiva, 4 guys are sleeping in a room. If everybody's going to leave the room messy, it's not derech eretz. I'm saying since it's derech eretz, since it's the morals, the nice way to do, everybody could fix their bed. You don't have to start tucking in and do crazy stuff. Just give a good whip to the blanket, put it on the pillow. You did your part, but that would be allowed. But we learn from this something. We learn that there's derech eretz kadma la Torah. It's not just a phrase. It has practical, applications. Derech eretz means, let me fix my room. Let's look appropriate. Halacha says Talmid Chacham is not allowed to walk with a stained shirt. Why? What's the big deal? No. People are looking at you. You're representing. You have to, that's derech eretz. All right. We said that for a mitzvah, we are allowed to do certain things. Like we mentioned kibud horim, right? What happens if my kids are going to school and my wife is, under pressure, she's dressing them. She says, I'll dress them. You make the sandwiches. And then when you're done dropping off, you go to your minyan. Am I allowed to do that? Or do I first have to go to minyan? So even though it seems like we are doing stuff that aren't necessarily a mitzvah, but the answer is that would be allowed because
Shalom bayit.
Shalom bayit, I agree, but I threw in the wife reasoning. But the Yalkut Yosef didn't even mention the wife reasoning. The Yalkut Yosef just said, if you're taking care of your children, whatever it is, sandwiches, dropping them off in school, it's a mitzvah because a man that got married, he has a ketubah, he has to take care of certain things. You're not a Persian sheikh right now that, everything is done for you. You have obligations. So that's part of being Jewish, and therefore it's considered a mitzvah to take care of your children, especially children that go to like a yeshiva, Talmud Torah, then you're, of course it's a mitzvah. You're sending them so that they learn better, so that, et cetera, et cetera. So that would be allowed to take care of the kids. This is something that has happened to me a few times. I try anyway to go early, but sometimes whatever happens, you have to go to a later minyan and the kids need sandwiches. No problem. You can make it for that. Eating and drinking before Tefilah. So I think everybody knows that eating is a problem. Eating is a problem because the pasuk says, "Lo tochelu al hadam." Don't eat on the blood. That's what it literally means, but it has reference to how, you still haven't prayed to Hashem. It's too early. How can you put something in your mouth? Or there's another pasuk, "Oti heshelachta acharei gavecha." You threw me behind your pride. In other words, Chachamim learned, this is not the pasuk that talks about Tefilah, but sometimes they give an asmachta. They give a pasuk that from there they have a reasoning to understand why it would be problematic to eat. What's the reasoning? Why is it problematic to eat before Tefilah? And the answer is because a person before Tefilah, if he eats, it's as if he's proud. Look at me, let me start with my 5-star breakfast right now. Well, what are you doing? You wake up to serve Hashem? First go serve Hashem, then eat. So eating is a problem. Everybody agrees you cannot eat. I wouldn't say everybody. Chabad has their own custom. They eat cake. I have a cousin, happens to be, his name is Ziv also. We're both named after the same uncle, Alav Shalom, that died in the Yom Kippurim War. And he's a rabbi of a community in Chabad. And their custom is to eat before the Tefilah. They eat cake with their coffee and they enjoy. So we asked him, how do you explain this? What are you doing? The Shulchan Aruch Harav, they have their own halachot, and in their halachot, it's brought down that it would be allowed. Why? He said something interesting. Don't learn from this, but he said something interesting. This is Chabad halachot. He said some people are praying and they're thinking about the cake. Some people are having cake, but they're thinking about the Tefilah. Meaning, I eat not because I want to have now, I want to get a little energy, so I go pray properly, and I'm not always, Shabbat, sometimes Tefilah is until 12, 1 o'clock, you're hungry. So that's their opening. That's not halacha according to Shulchan Aruch, according to Yalkut Yosef. But when I say everybody agrees, there are groups that don't agree, and they have their own reasoning, and we respect everybody. But according to our halacha, we do not eat before. But what happens to drinking? So let's start with the consensus. The consensus is on water. Why would it not be a problem to drink water before Tefilah? Anybody want to try?
You have to cleanse your body.
Cleanse your body. I like it. That's not what the Yalkut Yosef brings, but maybe they should add it in. That's a very,
very nice part of the Tefilah in the morning. I know what I'm saying. I shall go on.
Listen, think like this. This is the direction I want to give you for the answer. What's the problem generally with eating or drinking before Tefilah? And if that problem exists, then why isn't that problem there when it comes to water? What did we just say? What's the problem? Gava. A person is like, look at me, I'm eating, I'm drinking. You're forgetting about HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Everybody agrees that there's no gava, no pride in water. People are going to get proud. You see a guy walking around with a cup of water, you think to yourself, oh, look at him. No, he's drinking water. No gava over there. You see him eating cheesecake before Tefilah, you're going to think maybe, So everybody agrees, water, no gava. Coffee, tea, already it comes to an area of machloket. But the bottom line, the halacha is that if the purpose of drinking the coffee or tea is not pleasure, the purpose is to help you wake up, to pray better, then it is allowed. It's agreed that it's allowed without any added items. What do we do about sugar or milk? So if you're having now a cappuccino, 80% milk, 20% coffee, then with all due respect, you don't need that to wake up. You could remove the milk. The milk is already something that has gava. It has a little bit like, presence to it. So that would be forbidden. But if you just want to add a little milk for flavor, Chachamim also say a little sugar for flavor, that will be allowed so that you don't suffer from the coffee. But it's not that that's to make it pleasurable for you. The purpose of the coffee is not pleasure, it's to help you pray. That should be the approach. And that would be allowed. Yalkut Yosef brings that it's better that at least, read some Birkot HaShachar, a little bit of Korbanot or something before you put that in your mouth, so that, you show that definitely there's no gava. I'm Hashem, I had you in mind. You're at home, read Birkot HaShachar, okay? But even if you didn't do that, no one's saying that it's asur. It's a better thing to do, but it's not asur. So bottom line, you're allowed to be lenient, especially if someone is weak, you could give him some milk, and you could put sugar, but better to say Birkot HaShachar, Birkot HaTorah, and a little of the Korbanot before he says. Okay. Now, what about if someone has a medical condition? He's weak in the morning, he wants to eat, to become stronger. We just said you're not allowed to eat. Over here, why would that be allowed? Because there's no gava. He's not eating because he's proud. Look at me. The man is sick. He needs to eat. So since there's no gava, again, I think this is what you have to always have in mind. Is what I'm having right now a source of gava, a source of pride, or it's just a means so that I could get to my tefilah? I don't open that door and say, I can't pray if I don't have a double burger. Some guys, maybe they can't pray without that. No, we're not going to give them a tip. But if basic things that are there, like coffee, tea, water, that help you serve Hashem better, that would be allowed.
Ziv, can you explain the gava part? I don't understand the connection between drinking and having gava.
So the pasuk that they use as a source to learn why we cannot eat or drink certain things before tefilah is Oti heshlachta, you have thrown me acharei gavecha, behind your pride. And they learn from that, how do you throw something behind your pride? It's as if Hashem says, I'm second best now. First of all, you wanted to take care of yourself, right? That's kind of pride. So you come before Hashem. First you say, no, Hashem, I'm just drinking coffee so that I have energy to serve you better. Oh, there's no pride there. Drink your coffee. But if now you're having cheesecake, if you're having a cup of milk, that's not to serve me. That's to serve you. If you're serving yourself before Hashem, that's a little pride. Remember who comes first. Does that give you that?
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, very good. So we said, L'refuah, you are allowed to eat. Now, what happens if I'm able to pray? Baruch Hashem, we're healthy, we're able to pray. But you say, Rabbi, I'm able to pray, but if I have a cheesecake before tefilah, my kavanah, my tefilah is going to move from 7 to a 10. I'm much better. I see it's a fact. Are we going to allow him to eat or not going to allow him to eat? What do you think?
I would say yes.
I can tell you now that no answer is wrong.
Okay.
So Steve, you say yes, you are right. How could it be that another answer would be right as well? Because there's a machloket. Yalkut Yosef brings the machloket. He says some say that it would be forbidden. Why would they forbid it? Because not eating before the tefilah is a isur from the Torah, at least to that opinion, that since the pasuk from our holy sources say, it has a pasuk, therefore it's forbidden from the Torah. Others say, no, you can't learn from that it's forbidden from the Torah. It's okay if you eat before tefilah, if the purpose is to upgrade your tefilah. Machloket. What if a person is sick and he's eating to go to Bet Knesset, which means he could pray home alone, but in order for him to walk to shul, it's a little difficult. He's a weaker man, he's an older man. He says, I'm going to eat the cookie and I'm going to go to shul, or I won't eat the cookie and I'll pray at home and only after I'll eat the cookie. What comes first? So the answer is, it's better that he prays. Giacomo, I was surprised like you. The answer is that it's better that he prays home alone and does not break the halacha.
Wow.
Yeah. Don't break the halacha. You don't have to pray in the minyan if you're not able to. You're considered anus. You don't have the ability to go. Don't pray. It's okay, pray alone at home and after eat the cookie. But in order for you to eat the cookie right now, since some say that it's problematic, it's even from the Torah, we're not going to take that risk if you could still pray without it. You could still pray, right? You do the mitzvah praying. Minyan, it's not so simple that it's an obligation. Today, everybody takes it upon themselves.
But today, Pele, you gave us the thing from Micha, you said it's an obligation.
So I agree with you. Halacha lema'aseh, it's an obligation. But regarding that zaken, he is choleh. He is exempt. For him, it's not an obligation. But it's still an obligation for him to not eat before praying if he is able to, and he's able to. That he is able to do. You are exempt from going to minyan because you physically can't. No, let me eat first. You're not exempt from not eating first. That you could still do and pray, right? So that's I get your question, but that's a differentiation. He's exempt. Choleh is patur. You don't have to do. You stay at home. No problem. All right. Now, everything that I said right now regarding eating before Tefilah, that is only if Amud HaShachar, which is dawn, today when it's dawn, I don't know, around 5 o'clock, 5:10 or so in Israel, I don't know when in America, where it's still dark, it's not sunrise, it's 72 minutes before sunrise, if dawn has begun. But if I wake up before dawn, this is something very common in fasts. Someone has Tzom Gedalia, Tzom Yudzayin B'Tammuz, they say, I'm going to wake up, dawn is at 5 o'clock, I'm going to wake up at 4:30. You have to have a stipulation. You have to have in mind that you're going to wake up to eat. I'm going to wake up at 4:30 and I'm going to go and eat. That is mutar. Why? Because dawn hasn't begun yet. And the only time that the obligation of not eating begins is from dawn. So you're allowed to do that. And let's say you're going to nets and you want to focus better. You can wake up before dawn, eat, and do that. But everything that I said right now is according to the Peshat, according to the halacha, the dry halacha. According to Kabbalah, don't even do that. According to Kabbalah, once you close your eyes, don't eat until you're done praying. That's the mekubalim. That's a tough halacha. Not everybody's mekubal. If you're able to do that, good. But according to the Pshat, to the Yalkut Yosef, you don't have to do that, and you would be allowed to do that. This is a solution for a lot of people that it's hard for them to fast. They do that in fasts. They wake up before dawn. They eat something. They could even go back to sleep.
I do it. You
do it?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I do stipulation the night before. You have to do stipulation the
Exactly. Chazak u'baruch. Especially, if you go to work and it's going to be tiring and difficult for you the whole day. So there's many reasons to allow. All right. Now, what happens if the time of shacharit came, but I like learning before Tefilah? All right. So what I do, I sit in my house and I open a Gemara or I open a book of Halacha and I read and I read and I read. And then once my minyan begins, I look at my clock and I go to the minyan. Now, can I do that or can I not do that? So there's a differentiation between someone that is used to praying at home and someone that is used to praying at a minyan. Let's say a person is used to praying at home because maybe he's choleh, maybe he lives in a city that does not have a minyan and he's exempt. Whatever it is, he's used to praying at home alone for a reason that's justified, all right? That person that is used to praying at home alone, he shouldn't learn before Tefilah. You know why? Anybody feels it? Why? Why shouldn't, if I'm at home, I'm about to pray, why can't I learn before Tefilah? So a lot
your mind might go to the subject instead of the prayer. You might be thinking about the learning part instead of praying to Hashem.
Let's develop it a little bit more, what you're saying, William. Not just your mind will go there, but you will get caught up. And, Baruch Hashem, today, the tzaddikim, we feel that may happen to them. This is going to happen to us. I'm learning for 5 minutes, then I want to go pray. He's saying in the Yalkut Yosef, you're going to start learning, you're going to have questions and answers, you're going to open a book and another. All of a sudden, the time of Tefilah passed, you missed the minyan. Or you missed it, you're at home, right? So you missed the Tefilah. And therefore, he says, do not do that when you're home. But if you're going to a minyan and you're going to pray somewhere outside, your mind is always on, when is my minyan beginning? When is my minyan? I have to get there. Therefore, if you're praying outside of the house, then you will be allowed to learn at home before the Tefilah. But if you are praying at home, don't learn before you go to the exam. Someone else said something while Mr. William was speaking, or no? Unless, when would you be allowed to learn before Tefilah if you are at home and you're going to pray at home? If you're a guy that gives shiurim, let's say we have a shiur on Zoom and it's done before my shacharit. Not me, someone that has to pray at home. Even though he's praying at home, he's allowed to give a shiur on Zoom. Why? Because that's zchut harabim. When the zechut of the rabbim, when the majority of the people are dependent on him, then we're lenient with him. Man, listen, so many people need this Torah, we're not going to keep the Torah away from them, and we allow. But unless that's the case, if you are praying at home, first pray, and then learn.
If we can say Birchat HaShachar and then learn?
Anyway, you're going to have to say Birkot HaShachar and Birkot HaTorah, because you cannot learn without Birkot HaTorah.
Right,
So
because
you're going to say that. I mean, if you want to just say Birkot HaTorah, theoretically you can, but why not say Birkot HaShachar before? And we learned it in order to not mess up the order, and maybe you'll forget later. Right. So usually we read it together. The only time it's happened to me where I read Birkot HaTorah without Birkot HaShachar is if in the middle of the night I wake up and I can't fall asleep, and I'm like, you know what, let's learn something until we fall back asleep. So you read Birkot HaTorah. You could learn for a few minutes. Be sure that the Yetzer Hara is going to come and try to all of a sudden make you tired, even though you weren't tired, because now you're learning, and you go back to sleep. In the morning, again, Birkot HaTorah fully. If it was dark outside and you went to sleep, you could even say Birkot HaTorah 5, 6, 10 times a night. If you fell asleep on your bed and you wake up, there's a machloket if it has to be for half an hour, if it's enough 2 minutes. But either way, it could be done a few times. You know what? Let's devote a few minutes to Rosh HaShana. Let's stand here. Let me mark where we ended. All right. Rabotai, Rosh HaShana, Yom Adin. Rav Ben Chaim has this phrase that he always says to his students. He says, Oy lanu miyom adin, woe to us from the day of judgment. It's a very cute Israeli phrase, but he's trying to wake us up to, not necessarily to Rosh HaShana, to Yom Adin. It could also mean, a day will come and judgment will come upon all the bad things that we do. But Rosh HaShana is around the corner. I want to discuss a topic that the Gemara brings down. The Gemara says, Ezehu shoteh. Who is considered a shoteh? Anybody know what a shoteh is? A shoteh. Okay. There are 3 people, for example, that cannot be witnesses. There are more, but a few of them that the Gemara mentioned is cheresh, someone that is deaf. Back then when they were deaf, they would also mute. They couldn't talk. So he can't be a witness. Shoteh, which is a fool. This is what we're talking about right now. And katan, a little. Someone that's a little boy, how could he be a witness? He doesn't know right from wrong. Same thing with the fool, the shoteh. He's a person that's considered not worthy of being a witness. Now, the Gemara asks, Ezehu shoteh? What is the definition of that person that is a shoteh? The answer of the Gemara is, Ze sheme'abed et kol ma shenotnim lo. He who loses everything that you give him. Let's give an example. You have a guy coming to you. You say, I'll give you a mission. Here's a $10,000. Go give it out tzedakah, whatever it is. The guy, you see him after an hour. Where are you? Oh, I'm here. Where's the money? Oh, I forgot it. I lost it. I don't know where it is. He lost all the 10. What happened to you? That's a shoteh. Me'abed kol ma. He loses everything you give him. I heard a beautiful question from a rabbi called Rav Amiram. The rabbi asked, what does it mean that if he loses everything you give him? What if he didn't lose $10,000? What if you come to him and he says, I only have $100 left. I lost $9,900. Is he still a shoteh? According to the Gemara, we just said, who's a shoteh? He who loses everything that we give him. He didn't lose everything that we give him. So now this guy is kosher to be a witness because 1 out of 100 he still has? Lichora, that doesn't make sense. What would be the reasoning behind that? But he gives a different interpretation. He says, when it says, Kol ma shenotnim lo, loses everything that we give him, it's not referring to the money, to the item. It's referring to a time. The Gemara is trying to say, you know who is a fool? He who loses the time period in which everything is given to him. In other words, Rosh HaShana. In Rosh HaShana and Shamayim, it's decided how the whole year is going to look before us. Rav Meir Eliyahu gave a nice example that I heard today. He said, have you ever been to those parks, those theme parks, that they have those electric cars that they push a button and everybody's racing and And all of a sudden, he pushes the button, all the kids now have to get out of the car, right? But what do usually the kids do once it stops? They don't want to get out, so they go, they try to make the car, you know what I mean? They try to make the car still move a little bit forward. He says, if a person doesn't have siyata dishmaya, if he doesn't have help from Shamayim, all year long, he's going to feel like, I'm pushing, but it's not moving. The guy is trying with the pamasai, he's trying with the children, he's trying with whatever he's trying, it's why? Because he doesn't have the help from God. But if you have help from God, everything is smooth. When is it determined? There's a day, there's a time period in which everything is given to us. Everything, the whole year is determined. That's on Rosh HaShana. Ezu shoteh, you know who's a fool? He who wastes the time period, which is Rosh HaShana, the time period that everything is given to him. So, but I'm saying this to myself first, but to all of us, that a lot of times Chagim, we tend to have, amazing meals and laugh and have fun. And of course, this is a happy day. This is the day that Hashem is, we put him as a king and we trust that he's going to judge us in favor. However, there's a certain level of seriousness that is required for this day to try to improve on our Tefilah, to try not get angry, to try to be nice to everybody, to try to really, really learn as much as you can, do as much as you can, because it's a limited time period. In these 2 days, everything is determined. I heard a very hard story to hear about a guy that his son, lo alenu, died in a camping trip with the person in charge of the trip. There was like a yeshiva or something, I don't know. One of the kids fell off into a cliff, into a water, and he drowned. Lo alenu. And the rabbi that was in charge felt so horrible, and he didn't know how to apologize to that father. He didn't know, what am I going to say to him? The father said something burning. The father said, there's no reason to blame you. He said it's only himself that he needs to blame. He says if he knew that this would have happened, then on Rosh HaShana last year, he wouldn't have left the Bet Knesset so early. He would have tried more and prayed more and ripped the sky until the decree would have been removed. And then he understood that everything was already decreed on Rosh HaShana. You're just a messenger. It's a hard story to accept, but everything that happens to us throughout the year has to do. It's like my daughter is telling me here from the side, I heard that story in school today. That's amazing. I can't believe you guys heard that. I didn't know we were being eavesdropped. Baruch Hashem, I'm happy they're listening to the important things. So this is time that needs to be, taken. I'll give you one more example. There's a pasuk in the Torah that says that whoever has a rooftop, he has to put a railing so that people won't fall, right? It makes sense. It's a mitzvah from the Torah to put a ma'akeh. The language of the pasuk is shelo yipol hanofel, so that people won't fall. No, it doesn't say that. It says so that the faller won't fall. Whoa. Everybody asks, what do you mean the faller won't fall? So that nobody will fall. Why is the Torah saying so that the faller won't fall? You know what the answer is? In Rosh HaShana, it's already been decreed. There's a faller. Somebody this year is going to fall from a railing. He's already decreed on him. You just make sure that doesn't happen in your premises, because the faller is going to fall somewhere, but you put the railing so that it doesn't happen in your home. In other words, everything is decreed on Rosh HaShana. So hopefully we'll come to this day with the right kavanah, with the right tefilah, take it a little bit more seriously, try to be good with everyone, not to get angry. It's a siman. You stay peaceful, you stay warm to everybody. The Shana is going to be peaceful. It's going to have mazal. It's going to have bracha. I wish to all of us, especially since it's not easy to leave a work day in the middle of the day, chazak u'baruch to all of you, and to come and to dedicate it to half an hour of halachot of Tefilah. We're doing good things, B'ezrat Hashem, but we shouldn't think that if we're doing good, then that's it. We are every little thing we have to beg for. We have to beg for our lives, literally our lives, so that this year will be a better year for us and for all of Am Yisrael, B'ezrat Hashem.
Amen.
Shana tova v'tukah jamil. All of us.
Shana tova.
Bye, everybody.
Shabbat shalom and Shana Tova.